on the continent, on this issue. And really, that's quite disgraceful. I think that's the only word that one can use for that. And I'm really pleased that there's a new administration in place. I'm pleased that our sister, the First Lady, Mrs. LAmina Oyegbola, understands these issues, has been part of the fight, part of the struggle, and listening very carefully to all the utterances of Mr. President on this matter around the Renewed Hope agenda. And one of the pillars of his administration, he talks about inclusivity and diversity, and we're going to hold him to that promise. So we're here today. This is a clarion call for widespread advocacy and education, because a lot of us, we are not conscious. We're busy trying to cope with our day-to-day lives, trying to pay our petrol bills, trying to pay school fees, pay our rent, and so on. So sometimes we get, we're not clear, totally clear. We don't remember fully what these 5 gender bills are all about, and the equal rights of all our citizens. So Dr. Akiode and Ward C, they brought us all here together under the auspices of USAID, the Palladium. We thank them for their sponsorship and their enablement. We thank all the other people who I may not be aware of who have supported this effort to bring us here. So the idea really is to ensure that we come to a clear understanding, to create the awareness, and to sort of pull in the private sector, all the actors, and understanding around what are these 5 gender bills about that were rejected by the National Assembly, and why were they rejected? That's it. So what was the motivation? What kind of logic and rationale did they go through to get to the point where they felt that these were not important enough bills to be rejected? The second thing was around, and I think that has already been mentioned by my sisters, to galvanize action, on how to ensure that when we go back, when Ward C, the general, leads all of us, and we go back, to the National Assembly, the 10th Assembly this time, to reconsider the 5 gender bills. How? It's not just the what. What are we presenting? It's how are we going to go about it? And the third thing really for me is, ensuring that we're a united front, there's unity. So we want to solicit the support of the private sector by way of partnership and collaboration for strategic, what I would say, for the strategic push and support, strategic guidance and input for the passage of the gender and equal opportunity bills. As a former private sector person, I understand the constraints of private sector organizations. And one of the things that the most private sector organizations will tell you is that they are apolitical. They don't get engaged in politics. But whilst I agree with that and understand that, there are other ways. They don't have to be out in front, right? There are other ways in which the private sector organizations can support this effort. And we want, in this forum, I'm sure by the end of the day, let us understand why it is important for private sector actors to also get involved. It's in their own enlightened self-interest. Why? Because a country cannot develop and advance if you leave 50% of its population behind. Your markets will double. Your profitability and bottom line will increase. Innovation will be enhanced. Creativity will be enhanced. There's a direct benefit to the private sector if they get behind these bills and ensure inclusivity and ensure diversity in their organization. So you have a reason to want to get involved without putting your company at risk for anybody to be able to tag you as you becoming political, which is the issue. So that's what I want us to understand. To generate finally from you, the private sector, because you have a lot of resources, your input, your ideas on how we can craft a winning strategy and approach for the representation and successful passage of the bill. Many of us in private sector organizations, we engage the National Assembly, we engage our regulators in areas of interest, things that will affect our corporation. And I'm saying here that this is an existential issue. If we don't address this issue as a nation, the advancement of the Gender and Equal Opportunities Bill, Nigeria cannot, move forward. It's actually what I would call if you're looking for one issue to hang on to, that the government and the private sector can address, that would will lead to a growth in GDP and the sustainability of our country, and to help to solve a lot of the problems that we're currently facing. This is one issue that can help to advance that. So finally, without taking much more of your time, we're looking forward to your collaboration, we're looking forward to your partnership. I want to thank Who Manifesto, thank Ward C, thank Wimpy's, and of course Whisker as well, and of course USAID and Palladium for this scale project. Ward C has been doing a lot behind the scenes, and if you don't know her, you need to know her now, so that, you know, and support Ward C in any way, manner, or form, you know, in this fight and struggle, which she's doing not just on behalf of women, but on behalf of Nigeria as a country. That's what we need to change, that narrative. When people hear women, look at the room, no men are there. But when men realize and recognize that this is something that affects them, they will show up. And that's what we want to see. So on that note, I want to say thank you very much for being here. And let's engage, let's speak, you know, candidly. Let's look at how we can develop a blueprint for the future in terms of action. Let's see how we can engage. Confrontation, we were told at the VOW conference a few days ago that confrontation is not the way. That let us think about how we engage our husbands. You know, if you go to your husband and start shouting at him, are you going to get him to do what you want? You will not. But if you engage him, you know, gently at the right time, you know, after he's had a good meal and he's feeling happy, you know, his ear will be, he'll give you the listening ear. So we've been advised that that is what we need to do. We need to lobby. We need to know, be more strategic. We need to lobby, we need to be more strategic. We need to know who to engage, when to engage them, how to engage them.
And when to change it for them.
Exactly. Thank you very much.